Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this massively requested video. It is a prediction video and we don't tend to do those anymore because there's so much competition on YouTube. We kind of get a little bit lost in the mix. So I kind of stopped doing them, but I've had a lot of people ask me, who do I think is going to win at Crown Jewel? Is it going to be The Fiend or is it going to be Seth Rollins? Now, for those of you that don't know the history to this match, let's quickly do a recap. So there was a match at Hell in a Cell. It was for the Universal Championship. A lot of people weren't happy with how that match finished. And basically, it saw Seth Rollins destroy The Fiend. He kept The Fiend down, and The Fiend was unresponsive. The referee really didn't have a choice. He had to call the match. The Fiend wasn't defending himself, wasn't moving, was unresponsive. Seth Rollins was basically killing The Fiend. He hit him with a toolbox, got a sledgehammer as well. The referee called it off. Enough was enough. And as soon as he did that, The Fiend popped up, mandible claw, Sister Abigail, and obviously made it known that he was playing possum, or at least that's my theory on this. I think he wanted to push Seth Rollins to the extreme, and we actually saw that in the weeks that followed. Seth Rollins would actually go on a Fiend hunt and would find the Firefly Funhouse and burn it down. The way he said burn it down was very similar to how the Fiend would say, "Let me in." And for me, that was just more confirmation that Seth Rollins was being consumed by his own darkness. So this is a very, very interesting story. One that has certainly split opinion as it's unfolded. But now we're at the point where we're at Crown Jewel. This is another Universal Championship match. This is a Falls Count Anywhere. And because of the controversy of the last match, it can't be stopped for any reason. Now, I'm guessing that you can still have pinfalls and submissions. Those are the normal rules. But I think what they're saying is there won't be ref stoppage. There won't be time limit or anything along those lines. It's got to be a pinfall or a submission. Someone is winning this match. So, what's the prediction? Who is winning? Who is leaving Saudi Arabia as the Universal Champion? So we've got three scenarios to go through, from least likely all the way up to most likely. Let's start with least likely. Let's start with Seth Rollins wins clean. I think this is the least likely outcome. So the reason why I say that is because Seth Rollins winning clean would mean that he has beaten The Fiend. There's a lot of people that watched Raw this week and saw him win a very similar match using a forklift truck. And there's a lot of people saying that this could be what happens at Crown Jewel, and it could be. I'm still of the opinion that they're not going to show you that finish on Monday and then do it exactly the same on Thursday. I don't think what you saw on Raw is going to be what they do at Crown Jewel. So I'm not leaning that way, personally. I think they might tease it. There might be a forklift. He might try it, but I don't think he succeeds. I really don't think he succeeds. I think with the backlash that they got from Hell in a Cell, I just can't see them giving Seth Rollins a clean victory. Unless they want to push that story along even more about him having to be pushed even further into his darkness. But I've got to be honest, the reaction was so negative, so strong following Hell in a Cell. They would be very, very stupid to keep going down that road. I think they did it once. I think, we're still on board with it. We can see what they were trying. It would be foolish to do it again. It's kind of now or never. We're at a now or never point. So for me, I really don't think it would be wise to do anything related to a Seth Rollins clean victory. I'm going to say this has got a likely outcome of about 10%, right? I'm going to say it's very, very small chances that Seth wins clean. Let's move on then to the next outcome, and that is that The Fiend wins clean. Okay, The Fiend wins clean is the next least likely outcome. And I'm going to say that this is around a 30%. I think this has got a much better chance of happening than Seth winning clean. I think this is more likely because I think that everything has been building to this. You could argue that he's driven Seth Rollins to the absolute extreme. He's got him now to a point where there's a Falls Count Anywhere match. It can only be stopped by pinfall or submission. And it really does seem like The Fiend is stronger than ever. Even Seth was saying that on Raw, that now he burnt down the Funhouse and the Funhouse is back. You know, The Fiend is going to want revenge now. The Fiend is going to be more driven now. And I just hope that there's not going to be a screwy finish where he goes too far and they reverse the decision. But they said they're not going to do that. Like, I can't see him winning. Could you imagine if he puts the mandible claw on, he wins the match, keeps it on, and they reverse the decision? Like, that would be awful. That would be awful. People would lose their minds over that. So I'm really hoping we don't get anything like that. But I really do think there's a good chance The Fiend could win. One of the stumbling blocks is then, of course, The Fiend would have the Universal Championship. And he is a SmackDown superstar. Well, if you remember, there was a trade and no one went in the other direction. So it could be that The Fiend gets drafted back to Raw. I would say that's unlikely because The Fiend is part of the new SmackDown intro. It seems to be that Fox are quite happy to give us Firefly Funhouse episodes, or at least their Twitter account implied that they were happy to give us Firefly Funhouse episodes. I don't know if the executives of Fox are happy, but that's a whole different story. So yeah, I kind of really do feel like this is more likely than Seth winning, but still not the probable outcome, if I'm being honest. The other thing they could do as well is that Cain Velasquez could beat Brock Lesnar, and then he could go to Raw with Rey Mysterio with the WWE Championship, and then the WWE Championship goes to Raw, the Universal Championship goes over to SmackDown Live. It'd be very easy to change the belt over from a red strap to a blue strap, and then there you go, it's the Universal Championship over on SmackDown, the WWE Championship on Cain Velasquez on Raw. Again, lots of moving parts to this, so I kind of feel like it's possible. I don't know if it's probable. Which brings me to my favourite outcome. I'm going to say this has got a 60% chance of probability, so just over half. And it is that Seth Rollins retains, but thanks to outside interference. I've been saying this on the live streams. I think someone's getting involved. I think the only way we're getting out of this feud is by bringing someone else in. I think someone needs to get The Fiend's attention, and if they're not going to put that Universal Championship on him, if they need a way out of this feud, if they need to now get Bray onto SmackDown, which is the brand he's meant to be on, then they're going to need a SmackDown superstar to get his attention. I've got a list of superstars that could do that are on the SmackDown roster. We've got Cesaro, who has been attacked a couple of times in dark matches by The Fiend. We've got The Miz. Bray Wyatt the other day said he was keeping an eye on The Miz. He said that, and then in the dark match, it was The Miz versus Cesaro, but The Fiend attacked Cesaro. Maybe The Miz strikes first because he doesn't want The Fiend to, strike him first. Plus also, Bray Wyatt is on Miz TV on Friday. That could be a very interesting interview if The Miz has attacked The Fiend. I don't feel like that's likely. I can't see The Miz doing that, to be honest. I do like the next names more. A returning Lars Sullivan. I feel like Lars Sullivan has been on the verge of a return for a while. He's a big monster. It'd be a very interesting feud. And there's no real history there between these two, but there doesn't necessarily need to be. Might just be a good way of bringing Lars back. The only downside is someone would have to lose this feud. You wouldn't want The Fiend to lose, and you wouldn't really want Lars to lose either. So I'm not sure if that works. We've got Luke Harper, obviously bags of history there. It would be great for Luke Harper to get involved in a tasty feud, but I don't think they'll go that way. Matt Hardy, but I don't think they're going to do that either, to be honest, because I'm not sure what his health is like at the moment. And I just think they probably want to go with someone else other than Matt Hardy at this stage for like a long program. I've got to say, the most favourite for me, The Undertaker. There's lots of history between Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker. Obviously, they had a WrestleMania match that saw The Undertaker victorious. So they can kind of build upon that. But also the fact that the Saudi fans are desperate to see the dead man. Even though he doesn't have an advertised match, this would still be a big moment. To see The Fiend and The Undertaker face to face, people would freak. People would forget about the Seth Rollins Universal Championship. They would just be giddy about what was to come. Undertaker isn't connected to a brand. Obviously, he's got a very strong connection to SmackDown, so it does make sense. It really does make sense. We could get The Fiend versus The Undertaker at Survivor Series, and we could be on the road to that. Survivor Series is like end of November, so I really feel like this is a good way out because The Fiend doesn't look weak because he got attacked. Seth still keeps the title. We build towards a massive Fiend Undertaker match at Survivor Series. Seth can then go into facing whoever the WWE champion is at Survivor Series. You know how it tends to be Raw versus SmackDown. So they could still go on to do that typical match. So yeah, really, really exciting. The only curveball I would throw in is that the image did leak of Seth versus The Fiend at Survivor Series. It was tweeted out by WWE and then quickly deleted. Now, of course, that could have been a plan. That plan could change. Or they could always do a rematch and maybe Fiend Undertaker is at a different time. Maybe it's set for WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? So, very hard to know. This is very hard to call, and that's why I love this match. I'm still favouring someone gets involved, and I'm favouring Seth Rollins keeps the title. But make no mistake about it, I will be cheering The Fiend on this Thursday when we do our live stream for WWE Crown Jewel. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully, I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.